Thank you. Wow. I feel it. Thank you. I'm deeply moved, as you can see. I'm very, very honored to be the first recipient of the Vanguard Award. Very grateful to Women's Leadership Forum, and I'm kind of overwhelmed by the fact that this has anything to do with entrepreneurship, because my success at entrepreneurship has been totally, it was an accident. I'll just tell you a little bit about it real quick. I also want to say that I'm deeply honored to have been associated with Gloria. It was said, some 30 years ago we were in the forefront. Well, 30 years ago I was Barbarella, okay? So I'm a late starter, I didn't begin to get it until I was halfway through with my favorite ex-husband. And of course, look where that ended up. My second husband and I started an organization in California called the Campaign for Economic Democracy. And it was the end of the 70s, and there was a recession, and we were terrified that fundraising was going to get harder and harder. And one day I read an article about Lyndon LaRouche. I don't know how many of you know what that name is. Remember the people that used to stand in the airports holding signs that said, "Feed Jane Fonda to the whales," or "Jane Fonda leaks more than nuclear plants"? You remember those? Anyway, it was grotesque. It was a grotesque organization. And what I found out in this article is that Lyndon LaRouche funded it through his computer business. And I thought, whoa, Tom, his name was Tom, my second husband, Tom, let's start a business that can fund the organization. So we thought, well, let's see, people really need a decent car repair shop, that won't rip them off. Okay, we did a little research on that. How about a restaurant? He was Irish, and they love to sit in restaurants and talk and drink. So, we actually drove around trying to find a restaurant to buy. And then one day, a man named John Maher, he's dead now, but he founded Delancey Street. You probably heard of that. He said to me, "Never go into a business you don't understand." I think it was the most important business advice that anyone could have given me. But of course it reduced my options to zero. What did I know about restaurants? What did I know about, about car repair? Then I realized there was something that I knew about. I knew about exercise. I knew what made it work and what affected women. And it was to fund our organization that I started the Jane Fonda Workout, thinking it was going to be a little mom and pop store. I mean, it was this tiny little place in Beverly Hills. When the doors opened, it was like a tsunami wave, and it just continued that way for many years. We never spent a penny in PR. It happened in spite of us. We weren't prepared for it. It was all by accident. I don't even know how to read a P&L statement. That's why when I told my financial advisor that I was getting an award for entrepreneurial, he laughed. Maybe he'll have more respect for me now, but then, after we'd earned about, which seemed like, well, it is a lot of money, $17 million. I mean, not to you all, but for a nonprofit, we put $17 million into this organization. And then I realized I want to grow this business. I started getting really interested in, because I discovered business is creative. And I wanted to really grow it. So I bought the business back from the nonprofit organization and got serious and hired women to run it. And then I discovered women do it differently. It was just fascinating, because all our advisors were men, because I thought then that you had to bring in serious men, businessmen, to tell you how to do it. And I realized that between me and the woman CEO, we knew much more. So the men, and we do it differently. As Gloria said, it's not because we're morally superior, we just don't have our masculinity to prove. I think that's a great line, as usual. She always comes up with great lines. Let me just make a note, too, about how we're different, because Gloria, to me, sort of is always manifesting the differences. She's going to be speaking later in the day. She's been here since this morning, you know, trying to really understand the organization and who you are and where your heads are at, so that when she speaks, she can really touch you and speak to you. That's such a woman thing. Do you know? I mean, wanting to know, the words to really matter to you, not just sort of bopping in and making a speech and leaving. It just touches me a lot that she makes that kind of commitment when she's speaking to yes. And the final thing is just, I've traveled all over the world. I've spent a lot of time in third world countries, and one of the things that I came to understand late in life was when you give women the wherewithal to be successful in business, everybody benefits. The community, the family, stability in the community, health. And that's why it's so touching and moving and exciting for me to be in this room and see so many women who have done it. Because I know that you will do it in a different way. You'll do it not because you want power over in the old hierarchical paradigm, but because you want to join with and empower other people, other women to make it too. And as someone, I guess it was in the video, well, by our powers combined, the old Captain Planet slogan, right? I hope that by our powers combined, we can turn this world into a place of love and sharing and cooperation, and God bless you all, and thank you so much for having me here.